And the Lord God commanded man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Let's see. It's the wrong spot. I lost it. Okay. I've given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and all the earth, and every tree in which it is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life. I've given every green herb for food. And it was so. Most interpreters understand this as being a vegetarian diet, no meat. Let's see. Here's what Ellen White says about this. God gave our first parents the food he designed that the race should eat. It was contrary to his plan to have the life of any creature taken. There was to be no death in Eden. The fruit of the trees in the garden was the food for man's wants required. God gave man no permission to eat animal food until after the flood. Everything had been destroyed upon which man could subsist, and therefore the Lord, in their necessity, gave Noah permission to eat of the clean animals that he had taken with him into the ark, but animal food was not the most healthful article of food for man. The people before the flood ate animal food and gratified their lusts until their iniquity was full, and God cleansed the earth of its moral pollution by a flood. After the flood, the people ate largely of animal food. God saw that the ways of men were corrupt, and that he disposed to exalt himself proudly against his creator and to follow the inclinations of his own heart. And God permitted them that lived so long of that race to eat animal food to shorten their lives. Soon after the flood, their race began to rapidly decrease in size and in length of years. The inhabitants of the old world were intemperate in eating and drinking. They would have flesh meats, although God gave them no permission to eat animal food. They ate and drank to excess, and their depraved appetites knew no bounds. And they gave themselves up to abominable idolatry. They became violent and ferocious and so corrupt that God could not bear with them any longer. The diet appointed man in the beginning did not include animals as food. Not until after the flood, when every green thing on the earth had been destroyed, did man receive permission to eat flesh. In choosing man's food in Eden, the Lord showed that that was the best diet, and in the choice made for Israel, he taught the same lesson. He brought the Israelites out of Egypt and undertook their training, that they might be a people for his possession. Through them, he desired to bless and teach the world. He provided them with food best adapted for this purpose, not flesh, but manna, the bread of heaven. It was only because of their discontent and their murmurings for the flesh pots of Egypt that animal food was granted them, and this only for a short time. Its use brought disease and death to thousands, yet the restrictions to a non-flesh diet was never heartily accepted. It continued to be the cause of discontent and murmuring, open or secret, and it was not made permanent. The Israelites, while in Canaan, were permitted the use of animal food, but under careful restrictions, which tended to lessen the results of flesh diets. The use of swine's flesh was prohibited, as also of other animals and of birds and fish, whose flesh was pronounced unclean. Of the meats permitted, the eating of the fat and the blood was strictly forbidden. Only such animals could be used for food as were in good condition. No creature was torn that had died of itself or from which the blood had not been carefully drained could be used as food. So, for those who think it's crazy to think that God didn't intend them to eat meat originally, let me just show you something. Now, maybe I'm naive, but I don't think that was God's original intention for his creation of living creatures. I'm the God of the living, not the God of the dead. Is it naive? Eh, I'm guilty. Call me guilty. Do you think when everything is restored from sin and there's no more pain and suffering or death, that that's part of the restored creation there? And it gets worse. I could show you more, but I won't. I think if you think that's beautiful or normal or what God intended originally, I think you're an idiot. I think you're an idiot.